We had lots of activity last night and this morning around the supposed leaked Neo Geo Mini design and its game list. I'm going to call bullshit on this. First, I'm going to say that I almost never involve myself in this type of speculation around unofficial information, mostly because this is really kind of pointless until we have final word from SNK. I mean, really, it's just hearsay until we have that official announcement from the source, and I think that's what irks me the most about this kind of thing. It's all speculation. Any opinions or things that I or anyone else can call attention to prove or disprove that this is the final product can easily be squashed by someone hiding behind the "it's a prototype" or "it's just a marketing image" kind of thing. And with that in mind, even the best laid argument for or against this, my own included right now, it doesn't really matter until we have facts. And once we have facts from the manufacturer, sure, we can debate away and have fun with it. In my humble opinion, anything that's said before that is really just bullshit. You don't really know, and no one can prove you right or wrong. And that's just a messy place to be. So I never want to invest too much time into rumors and unconfirmed leaks. They're bullshit until we have real data. That said, I recognize that there is some fun to be had with it, even if it's not typically my thing. Alright, that rant out of the way, I decided to give a few thoughts simply because I've been talking a lot about SNK and Neo Geo lately here on the channel. So let's start with the design. I was watching the NHL and NBA playoffs last night when I got a text from a friend who sent me a link to the article and the leaked image. And I'll be honest, I was a little disappointed. And don't get me wrong, I get it. I own 2 candy cabinets. I understand that if this is in fact the real deal, it's modeled after the Neo Geo candies. Yes, I absolutely get it. But this isn't what I as a North American think of when I think of Neo Geo. And that's probably a really good place for us to pause because we've yet to really see anything that indicates that this is going to be released anywhere outside of Japan. So maybe this is how they'd want it to look for the Eastern market? But that said, in my opinion, this would be an absolute crime if this were the design for the North American market. Anyone who is familiar with the 90s arcade scene will tell you about the Neo Geo Big Reds. Unlike Nintendo, where their target audience was raised on the NES and Super NES, those little gray boxes that were in so many homes, I don't honestly know anyone that had that black rectangular AES by SNK. Now, if you want to tug at the nostalgia heartstrings on Western Neo Geo gamers, most are going to reflect fondly back on the Big Reds that were easy standouts in most arcades. To not have this released in North America as a nod to the Big Reds of yesteryear, that's bullshit. Now, back to this being the Japanese release. Well, I don't want to spend too much time on this because, again, anything I throw out is immediately countered with the easy argument of this being a prototype or a marketing design mock-up. But in case you haven't noticed, the mini marquees on the leaked pic are in English. The game displayed on the screen is a Metal Slug game that never appeared on the Neo Geo, and the button layout is also not correct. The top left button here should be the button that is offset, not the bottom left, at least if you wanted some consistency with the Neo Geo CD controllers. Hell, it'd be nice if they just lined the buttons 4 across in a traditional layout format, but I understand there might not be room for that on a device this small. So this is either fake or you are just sloppy with your design decisions. Either way, it's bullshit. Alright, let's move on to the games list. 40 would be pretty sweet, I'll grant you that. But should or would SNK make 11 of those 40 games be either a Metal Slug or King of Fighters game? Yeah, 2 franchises dominate more than a quarter of the list that was shown. That alone is bullshit in my opinion, and that's from somebody who really loves Metal Slug. 1 King of Monsters wasn't enough? Here, have them both. Same with Shock Troopers because everyone loves the second one so much. If you love Neo Turf Masters, well, wait until you get a load of Top Players Golf. It's the second best golf game for the Neo Geo. We're also going to give you 3 Samurai Showdowns. Now wait a second, shouldn't that be Samurai Spirits? Because that's what it's called outside of the US. I thought this was the Japanese version. Yeah, 3 Samurai Showdowns, but forget the original, you wouldn't want to be bothered with reliving that arcade experience. Oh, and despite these bountiful offerings of other franchises, we're only going to give you Sengoku 3 because no one thinks that the second is actually the best in the series. Non-1975, a launch title that would give you a little more variety to the represented genres here, that was nixed in favor of one of the 15 or 16 fighting games. Finally, and I know I'm being petty with this one, but are we to believe that neither baseball game made it onto this list? Neither Baseball Stars Professional or Baseball Stars 2, a sport that I would argue is more popular in Japan than American football, but Football Frenzy steals the final spot. That's just bad. So, like the hardware itself, the decisions made to assemble the list are questionable, or the entire thing is made up. Either way, it's bullshit. So sure, if you put 40 Neo Geo games on a list, some of them are bound to be correct. Let's just recognize that. Overall, I wouldn't be terribly upset if this were the actual list. I'm just simply calling out that much like the hardware design, I think there are some suspect things about it. Ultimately, it's either confusing at best or a straight up hoax. Like I said, it's bullshit. You see, this is why I don't do these videos. I'm sure there are people out there who may agree with some of this, and I know people who don't will certainly let me know. But ultimately, this is all just pure speculation with no real facts or foundation for anyone to stand on. I'd much rather wait for the real word from SNK and then get into debating how shitty everything is. So let me know what you guys think, like, comment, and subscribe, and I will catch you all next time. Have a great weekend. Later, guys.